What if the most powerful family in financial history no longer needed to be seen? For centuries, one name has hovered just behind the headlines, whispered in back rooms, printed in conspiracy forums, and carved into the lore of banking empires: the Rothschilds. Depending on who you ask, they're either visionary financiers who helped shape modern capitalism, or secret puppet masters pulling the strings of governments and wars. But how much is fact? How much is fiction? And why, in an age of social media and hyper-transparency, do we know so little about a family that supposedly owns more wealth than entire nations? This is the Rothschild mystery. Real influence, or just a myth? You're watching The Monetary Mysteries, and we're about to go deep into one of the oldest financial enigmas in the world. Our story begins in 18th century Frankfurt, in the Jewish ghetto known as Dudengasse. There, a man named Meyer Amschel Rothschild worked as a coin dealer and banker. He wasn't born into wealth. He earned it through grit, networking, and an uncanny understanding of European aristocracy. Meyer's big break came when he became court banker to Prince Wilhelm of Hesse, one of the richest men in Europe at the time. But Meyer had a vision larger than any client. He sent his 5 sons to 5 different European cities: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt, to establish a cross-continental banking empire. This decentralized network allowed the Rothschilds to operate faster than governments, more discreetly than armies, and with one key advantage: trust. They became the invisible engine behind Europe's financial system. And soon, their name would become synonymous with global wealth. In 1815, Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo. But while most textbooks focus on the military outcome, a darker financial tale is often whispered. According to legend, Nathan Rothschild, the London-based son, had access to a private courier network that beat official channels. He learned of Napoleon's defeat before the British government and raced to the London Stock Exchange. The story goes that he began selling British consols, leading others to panic and follow. Once prices collapsed, Rothschilds secretly bought them all back, making an astronomical profit when victory was officially announced. There's no definitive proof this happened exactly as told. But like all great legends, its survival matters more than its details. Because from that moment on, the Rothschild name wasn't just associated with wealth. It was tied to influence. Influence that transcended borders. Influence that allegedly moved markets, funded wars, and manipulated outcomes. But is this story history or mythologized power? While the Rothschilds were gaining wealth, they were also building a communication system more advanced than many governments. Private couriers, fast intelligence, secret deals. They weren't just loaning money, they were loaning power. Governments turned to them during wars, crises, and reconstruction. They financed railroads, industry, even national banks. Unlike central banks today, the Rothschilds answered to no one. They were the bank behind the bank. The key was discretion. They didn't build palaces, they built networks. They weren't loud, they were strategic. And by the late 19th century, they had become advisors to kings, queens, and emperors. Not just bankers, but silent diplomats. And then, they faded from view. As their public influence shrank, rumors grew. Many of these spiraled into dangerous conspiracies, linking the Rothschilds to every event from world wars to global control of the media. Anti-Semitic propaganda in the 20th century fueled these ideas, portraying the family as the ultimate hidden hand. Cartoons, books, even political speeches invoked their name as a symbol of secret dominance. To this day, the Rothschilds are central figures in conspiracy theories about the New World Order, global banking, and even COVID-19 responses. But here's what's often missed. These narratives, while rooted in some truth about power and privacy, often cross into dangerous territory, replacing critical thinking with scapegoating. Yes, the Rothschilds were once immensely powerful, but does that mean they still run the world today? Or are they just convenient figures onto which we project our financial fears? Today, the Rothschild name still exists. They own investment banks, wine vineyards, and art collections. They appear on billionaire lists, but far from the top. In 2003, the British and French branches reunited after over a century. A symbolic gesture or a strategic comeback? They still advise governments and corporations, but in a world dominated by BlackRock, Vanguard, and sovereign wealth funds, the Rothschild footprint seems smaller than the legend. Is this by design? Some claim they've simply gone deeper underground, that their wealth is held in trusts, family offices, and quiet influence over institutions. Others argue they've been replaced, outmaneuvered by newer giants. But silence isn't absence, and invisibility doesn't mean irrelevance. So, what's the truth? The Rothschilds built one of the first truly international financial empires. Their strategies became the blueprint for modern global banking. They showed how private capital could rival public power, and how influence didn't require a crown or a flag. Their myth endures because we're still grappling with the same questions. Who controls money? What happens when power is private? And can true democracy exist in a system shaped by invisible capital? In many ways, the Rothschild story is less about one family and more about us. Our fears, our fascination, our suspicion of those we cannot see. The real mystery isn't whether they run the world. It's how close they came, and what we've built from their blueprint. The Rothschilds may no longer sit on thrones of gold, but their legacy haunts every financial system, every bailout, every central bank decision made behind closed doors. Real influence, or just a myth? That's for you to decide. If this story intrigued you, subscribe to The Monetary Mysteries, where we uncover the truths they don't want told. Because in the world of money, power is rarely where it seems.